Ever wondered what it's like to have a husband who's homosexual? Now imagine being Carly Simon, dealing with that while living a life in the spotlight. Monogamy, not her strong suit. It's like a roller coaster of relationships, and get this, she actually suggested her husband have a one-night stand with someone else. You won't believe the story we're about to uncover. Glamorous singer and songwriter Carly Simon is a loquacious and charming lady who is not just famous for her vocal prowess. She crossed paths with an astonishing number of powerful men. The thrilling tale of her love life is not the typical history made in a hurry, but carefully constructed true-life tales by her and her ex-husband. Their salacious stories are raising more questions about who is her vainest lover. Carly Simon is one of the finest American musicians, a powerful vocalist and an exceptional songwriter who is today respected for her wonderful contribution to the entertainment industry. She also proved her mettle not just as a creative children's book writer, but a remarkable memoirist, which of course formed the basis of her recent fame among lovers of entertainment history. Carly Simon rose to fame sometime in the 1970s with a series of hit songs that occupied the US top chart. At some point in her widespread fame, about 13 of her singles were among the top 40 US hit songs. My favourite among her legendary masterpiece of a song is Mockingbird, a duet with her ex-husband James Taylor that got to number 5 on the charts, and the controversial You're So Vain single that hit number 1, which critics thought may have been inspired by her life circumstances, especially her love life and marriages. Maybe you're among those who still ask to know who is Carly Simon's vainest lover between Warren Beatty, Mick Jagger, or her ex-husbands James Hart or James Taylor. I'm sure the answer would be as complicated as her famous romantic escapades. Carly Simon, in her exposé, took fans down memory lane about personal issues with her lovers. This veteran singer-songwriter had no issues putting together her love history in a book, in what observers say is a remarkable interpretation of a juicy love life. James Hart, her ex-husband, has also written with intimate details his opinion about their almost 20 years of marital life. Through Hart's revelation in his Lucky Jim memoir, fans got to learn of their spectacular matrimonial struggles, especially the fact that he has to grapple with his sexuality, which inclined more toward homosexuality. At a point in the strange marriage, Hart and Carly were no longer into each other, as their initial romantic spark vanished and the union became more like being in bed with a stranger. Very funny and ironic. I stumbled on the information that Carly was so frustrated that she urged Hart, her husband, to get laid. What does a poor journalist like me know about celebrity marriage? Carly Simon experienced excruciating romantic pain in her marriages. Was it a mistake made by nature or Hart's personal preference? So many questions that I would save as a subject for another day. At this time I'm just interested in knowing what transpired in the life of this talented lady. Did Hart find solace in going to a male strip club? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm quite sure the two deserve an award for staying that long in marriage under such circumstances, not with the many salacious details that Hart exposed. Carly, in her book, expressed how she felt living with a man she loved, how she was humbled by circumstances beyond her control. Of course, she was not interested in any closed door with Donald Trump. Wait a minute. Yes, she was not interested. She turned down one of the most powerful men in America. I was still thinking I have heard the last until I learned that she had to depend desperately on a Spanish witch doctor to save her marriage with James Taylor. Carly Elizabeth Simon was given to humanity in 1943 somewhere in New York City. Her father, Richard Simon, a classical pianist, and Andrea, her mother, was of German descent. Childhood for little Carly Simon was in the Riverdale neighbourhood of the Bronx, where she grew up with her 3 siblings that all died of cancer and predeceased her. A report suggests that Carly's regrettable experience as a 7-year-old girl contributed to her views about intimacy for a long time. Growing up was not easy for the young girl, not when she started stammering severely at the age of 8. When a psychiatrist tried, to no avail, to correct her case, discouraged Carly Simon had to discover a peculiar way of overcoming her deficiency. She learned that the stuttering disappears each time she sang. She naturally spent her time singing and writing songs. I can relate to how this beautiful lady developed her talent. I felt so strangulated talking. I did the natural thing, which is to write songs, because I could sing without stammering, she once stated. Growing up was so tough for Carly Simon that it seems like no day passes without new trouble. She once hinted at how she grew up with dyslexia and how the condition may have positively inspired her songwriting talent. Famously quoted to have said that her hit song Anticipation came down from the universe, entered her head and escaped through her mouth, adding that so it bypassed the mind. After about 4 semesters at Sarah Lawrence College, Carly attended music classes at Juilliard School of Music to prepare herself for the big stage. She became a music powerhouse after she went solo following the disbandment of Meet the Simon Sisters, a duet with Lucy, her sister, which produced the song Winkin', Blinkin' and Nod, based on Eugene Field's poem. Carly Simon's self-titled debut album as a solo artist in 1971 became a huge success, earning her a Grammy Award for Best New Artist and subsequently placing her song among the first top 10 singles. The first time Carly set her eyes on lanky James Taylor outside the winery, she knew instantly that she has found her Prince Charming. She fell in love and was said to have told her sister, "I'm going to marry him." A few months after, Carly and Taylor got connected after his performance at Carnegie Hall. She was so obsessed with the star that in the night she threw herself half on top of him. Did she say it was the nicest contact I could ever know, could ever have asked for, or ever remember? That reminds me of saying that love can be stupid. What do I know? I guess she may have been telling all those who care to listen that Taylor is her muse, her Orpheus, and her sleeping darling. My good night, sweet prince, and my something in the way he moves. Not too long, Taylor packed his bag and moved into her apartment. It became a forever and ever kind of romance. But there's one thing still troubling their togetherness, Carly's earlier flirtation with Mick Jagger. She and Jagger would spend evenings together at the studio where he was producing. At other times they're seen at Portobello Hotel, which was dangerous and conspicuous. It seems her mind was with Jagger, but her heart was for Taylor, the reason she held back with Jagger, not giving him exactly what he wanted, even though she knew that every one of those movements would upset Taylor. Carly soon observed that her actions were already negatively affecting her heartthrob. She was still thinking about how to handle it when Taylor exposed something to her. "This is what I do," Taylor said, referring to his habit of using a pill. "I can't have you and the habit at the same time. Maybe if you see me do it, it will take away the cat-and-mouse game." I guess she understood what he was saying. Don't get me angry unless you want me to be going on drugs. That was his way of warning Carly to cut off completely from Jagger if she had not. As if that was not enough, the night before their marriage, Bianca Jagger called Taylor on the phone, telling him to cancel the wedding because she believed that Carly and Jagger were having an affair. Disturbing signs continued to show up. Taylor would become moody and scold Carly for what he felt she should know. Blinded by love, Carly ignored these signs, including how he shouted at his ex-girlfriends rudely and told them not to call him again. The two eventually married, and their union produced 2 kids, Sarah and Benjamin, but in between the marriage, a lot of things happened. Not too long after their wedding, Carly hinted at Taylor, saying he needed to be under the influence at least 4 times a day, and that she doesn't seem to satisfy much in him. The moment Carly Simon became pregnant with the second child, Taylor's infidelity surfaced increasingly, and it began to rock the union. Infidelity issues got hot one night and into a fight as she went downstairs to break the White Book guitar on his head. But he caught me in time, and I hit him with my fists as hard as I could, Carly Simon recounted. The year Carly Simon realized Taylor was cheating on her with a backup singer, she had no choice but to start an illicit affair with her engineer, Scott Litt. Now her troubles seemed to have multiplied. Why? She was convinced by a close confidant to tell Taylor about the affair she did, thinking it would have a positive effect on him, only to be faced with more romantic nightmares. She learned that Taylor was also dating a few other women, including tough Evie. Taylor told her that the Asian dancer, who was at the time living in the 4th-floor walk-up apartment on West 70th Street that he was using for his rehearsals, is the latest cuteness in his life. The scenario soon changed as Taylor began to spend nights outside his home, and gradually he was no longer returning home. It seems he has taken a temporal shelter at Evie's place. One day Carly Simon informed him that she was coming. "I'm going to your other apartment to meet Evie." Though she did not get a response, she arrived at the house to find, in her words, a tiny and muscular woman with dreadful eyes. The sight of the lady sent a chill down her spine, but she must make her case known. So cautiously Carly said to her, "I want you to see that I'm not such a monster." "Oh, yes, you are," Evie interrupted in funny English. "Jamie doesn't love you, don't you know? He calls you a Jap. Told me you buy a big Mercedes convertible, drive around California trying to be a film star, but you are not pretty enough," Evie clarified. Confused, afraid and frustrated, Carly Simon left the house and continued her affair with Lit, while Taylor hit it off with Evie. Their marital troubles became more famous than her first album. All these are what Carly Simon had put together in her memoir, Boys in the Trees. Her mind was still on Taylor, but he became highly unreliable, so she began to think of a spiritual solution to get him back. The last-minute attempt to save their marriage was a move she made to a mystic fellow who promised to help. Carly Simon approached a Spanish witch doctor, who instructed her to smear her body with oils and ointment. And when Taylor entered the bedroom, he was just interested in knowing the medicinal effect of the smoke coming from the red and black candles that she was burning as part of the instruction. The two eventually separated, and several years after, Carly Simon said that she no longer communicates with Taylor. "I would say our relationship is non-existent, even though it's not the way she wanted it. I still want to heal him. I still want to make him all right. I love him so much," she declared. Carly Simon married poet and entrepreneur James Hart in 1987. The couple lived together, though not without more troubling issues, before divorcing. All that is what Hart had also captured in his memoir that is now adding colour to the fascinating tale surrounding the love life of this great musical genius. One major bombshell that rocked the marriage was that James Hart happened to be homosexual, who was in a man-to-man relationship with Richard Kohler, a medical practitioner, for close to 14 years. Did Carly Simon say monogamy is a very hard thing to obey? "I think there's always an attraction to novelty," she was quoted. She thought that almost all men she knew were not ready to be in a one-woman relationship. The adventure of seeing whether he could get a woman to be interested in him is always high, she stated. Was it why she found favour with Hart? He never saw women around him. A lot of people have continued to ponder over what may have inspired her celebrated lyric, "You're so vain," who among her lovers is the vainest man she is talking about. She had said that the inspiration came from a party she was in with her sister, and a fellow walked into the party. She was like, "Wow, he's so vain. But who's the fellow, and what is his real name?" Pressed to reveal the identity of the vain man and doused speculation, Carly Simon said, "I have told several people." Before this time she had said that the second verse was about Warren Beatty, and later hinted that she was forced to say something. And talking about her marriage with James Hart, Carly Simon was so worried about the fate of her sexless nuptial relationship with him that she ordered him to drive to a Manhattan brothel and get laid by a call girl, as Hart explained in his memoir. This was because sexual attraction had disappeared from their union, and she was looking for a way to refurbish the already dwindling relationship. "It seems Carly realised that she was no longer physically attracted to me and yet liked me," Hart stated, suggesting that she wanted to keep the marriage going despite the odds, quoting her exact words, "Darling, you need to get laid. Maybe visiting a seedy massage parlour. As I looked at the selection, I realised that nothing about this attracted me," Hart stated. I was about to betray my marriage vows without an ounce of desire, Hart recalled, but that is the last thing he wanted to do. It was completely off the mark to pass a night with an Asian quickie at a seedy massage parlour, he thought. Confused, Hart said he later told her he couldn't do it. But unfortunately, he did it his way. He decided to go to a male strip club afterward, where he hopes to get better fun, and he felt at home at the place compared to what it would have been if he had followed Carly's earlier suggestion. What a way to be in a marriage! Quite a titillating story, I must say. But before you go, we have a jaw-dropping revelation about one of Hollywood's most beloved icons. Did you know that Debbie Reynolds was once used as a smokescreen for hiding others' homosexuality?